We will be starting the meeting in 2 minutes. Hello, good morning everyone. My name is US Abhishek Verma and I'm a Microsoft Student Ambassador from India. Special thanks to you all for joining the session. Thanks to the ambassadors here, thanks to the moderators helping to monitor the chat and lobby. Feel free to share your excitement about AI. This was the code of conduct for student ambassador community guidelines. Be welcoming, be respectful and inclusive, be friendly and open and patient, acknowledge differences, be thoughtful, be kind. Student ambassadors are a force for good locally and globally. As such, we expect student ambassadors to exemplify our values and display community spirit in a positive way by conducting themselves with respect and restraint whenever they engage with others inside and outside the program. Simply put, an individual's characters and leadership truly matter to us. And today we will be discussing about Microsoft Learn AI Skill Challenge, Introduction to Artificial Intelligence in Azure. Today's meeting agenda was introducing artificial intelligence, introducing Microsoft Azure, hands-on session on Azure Cognitive Services, where we all know ChatGPT was introduced in November 2022, and this AI revolution has started from then. This is what Azure AI Platform is about. The Azure AI Platform look like this, a great set of services to target both data scientists and AI developers across all industries. Starting at the boom of the screen, we have Azure Machine Learning. Moving up the platform levels, we have cognitive services. Finally, at Build 2021, a new category was formed, Applied AI Services from customer feedback. We had a good AI platform that served customers at different levels using cloud AI technology. Then in November 2021, Microsoft introduced Azure OpenAI services. These capabilities behind the scenes are being built into Microsoft first-party products. In Jan 2023, OpenAI is generally available with ChatGPT released quickly afterwards, where we can see applications will be built here, application platform AI builder, and scenario-based applied AI services like bot service, cognitive service, form recognizer for forms, video indexer, matrices advisor, and immersive reader, and customizable AI models for cognitive services including vision, speech, language, decision, which are helpful for developers and data scientists. ML platform is Azure ML or Azure Machine Learning. And for application platform, we can see Power BI, Power Apps for Automate, and Power Virtual Agents. And for applications, we have Microsoft 365, Microsoft Dynamics 365, and partner solutions, where we can get it from Azure Store. Let's go over just a few of the updates that have been announced in the last few months. June 2022, GitHub Copilot, an AI-powered pair programmer, has been unleashed for all developers and available on the most common IDEs. October 2022, the birth of Microsoft Designer, enabling content created to generate high-quality graphics and illustrations using AI. Jan 2023, Azure OpenAI service, enabling the access of Azure customers to OpenAI models, is generally available, and a reinforced partnership between OpenAI and Microsoft is announced, with all the workloads running on Azure. February 2023, the new Microsoft Bing with search capabilities empowered by generative AI has become available. March 2023, ChatGPT and GPT-4 families of models have been added to the AOAI service, Azure Artificial Intelligence Service offering. Microsoft 365 suite, including some preview AI-empowered features called Copilot, able to revolutionize the way of working and interacting with Office tools. GitHub Copilot introduced new preview features, including a chat experience powered by ChatGPT. We can expect a lots of new incredible updates in the following months. Microsoft Designer product launch. Microsoft extends partnership with OpenAI, new Bing and Edge powered by ChatGPT-4. ChatGPT and GPT-4 and Microsoft 365 Copilot, and GitHub introduces Copilot X. A bit of the history. In 1996, ELSA, typewritten chatbot simulating a psychiatrist. 1980s and 1990s, return of AI research and birth of new statistical models. 2010 and 2015, modern assistants like Siri and Cortana, and Google Assistant, and Alexa, etc. Today, generative AI based on transformer architecture, where when we ask the question, it gives us a response. To understand what has changed and what all the hype is about, let's do a step back and let's try to define some basic pre-learnings about AI and natural language processing. If we analyze the time window, we can observe how things weren't always so fast. The first projects in AI domain date back to 60s, when the first researchers began to explore the possibilities to create missions able to replicate some of human cognitive capabilities like the conversation. Initially, symbolic reasoning was a relevant approach, and it led to a number of important successes such as Eliza, the first typewritten chatbot, acting as a psychiatrist. However, it soon became clear that such approach does not scale well. Extracting the knowledge from an expert, representing it in a computer, and keeping that knowledge accurate turns out to be a very complex task and expensive for practical in many cases. So this led to the so-called AI winter in 1970s. A turning point arrived during 1990s with the technological evolution of cheaper and most capable to handle large amounts of data, together with the creation of new algorithms classified as machine learning, able to learn patterns from data without being explicit programmed with specific instructions. In particular, new statistical models called neural network, inspired by the biological structure of the brain, made up of interconnected neurons, gave a boost to the AI research development and being able to work with also complex inputs, not only categories or numbers like images and audio too. The statistical models belonging to a subgroup of MI called deep learning benefited also of the availability of more powerful GPUs. The modern virtual assistants born in 2020 like Siri, Google Assistant, Alexa are also built upon language models based on neural networking. They are proficient in subdomain of AI called as natural language processing. The capability of a machine of processing and interpreting the human language identified a specific need in the input request from the user. They are also able to pair it with a suitable answer, which was available in the internet. Generative AI is a cutting edge technology in the field nowadays and is able to generate examples starting from a huge amount of data used to train a model. And when I say huge, I think about all the data publicly accessible on the internet. That's why we talk about large models. Because of the amount of data used for their training and because of the number of calculations they are able to handle at a particular amount of time. The examples those models are able to create could be different type, and we will see it more details from text to go to images. In the image, you see the output of a large language model when asking it if it can write a poetry. This one. Simply put, AI in the creation of software that imitates human behavior and capabilities. In agriculture, robot harvesters, and in computer and using computer vision to monitor crop and soil health, and in healthcare, civilian detector, war simulation, etc. In education, plagiarism checker, and automated grading and virtual teaching. And in the most commonly used thing was in banking was fraud detection and KYC. And these are the common terms you would hear AI developers use often. Machine learning. This is often the foundation for an AI system and is the way we teach a computer model to make predictions and draw conclusions from data. Use case personalized recommendations like those seen in streaming platforms, e-commerce sites, and social media. Analyzing historical financial data to predict market trends, stock prices, and score and credit scoring. Anomaly detection. An odd one out of a dataset. The capability of automatically detecting errors or unusual activity in a system. Use case monitor credit card transactions and detect unusual usage patterns that might indicate fraud. A racing car telemetry system that uses sensors to proactively warn engineers. Natural language processing. The capacity for a computer to interpret written or spoken language and respond in kind. Use case analyze and interpret text in documents, email messages, and other sources. Inter- interpret interpret spoken languages and synthesize speech responses, automatically translate spoken or written phrases between languages, interpret commands and determine appropriate actions. In natural language processing in Microsoft Azure, we use language translate speech and Azure bot. Knowledge mining. One one popular use case in Azure Cognitive Services which allows you to ask AI questions about your data. You may watch the attached video for it. Is a term used for knowledge mining is a term used for describing solutions that involve extraction information from large volumes of unstructured data to create a searchable knowledge store. You can watch this video for that. Sorry for the disturbance. So in this sample, you can see how the text is getting generated. This is about Azure Cognitive Services, and it was mining the text to find the exact answer. Computer vision. Another key workload is the computer vision, which is what we would be utilizing in our demo. The capability of software to interrupt the world visually through cameras, videos, and images. Computer vision models and capabilities. Image classification involves training a machine learning model to classify images based on their content. For example, in a traffic monitoring solution, you might use an image classification model to classify images based on type of vehicles, their content, such as taxis, buses, cyclists, and so on. Object detection. Machine learning models are trained to classify individual objects within an image and identify their location with a bounding box. For example, a traffic monitoring solution might use object detection to identify the location of different classes of vehicle. For example, the name board of that particular vehicle, etc. Semantic segmentation is an advanced machine learning technique in which individual pixels in the image are classified according to the object to which they belong. For example, a traffic monitoring solution might overlay traffic images with mask layers to highlight different vehicles, like example bus, car, cyclist, etc. Image analysis. You can create solutions that combine machine learning models with advanced image analysis techniques to extract information from images, including tags that could help catalog the image or even descriptive captions that summarize the scene shown in the image. A person with a dog on the street. Face detection analysis and recognition. Face detection is a specialized form of object detection that locates human faces in an image. This can be combined with classification and facial geometry analysis techniques to recognize individuals based on their facial features. An image of multiple people on a city street with their faces highlighted. Optical character recognition or OCR. The image of the building with San Toronto Dominant Bank which was highlighted. Optical character recognition is a technique used to detect and read text in images. You can use your OCR to read text in photographs, for example, road signs or storefronts, or to extract information from scanned documents such as letters, invoices, or forms, etc. OpenAI plus Microsoft ensures the artificial intelligence benefits humanity, empowers every person and organization on planet to achieve. Microsoft have a public partnership with OpenAI. OpenAI trying to build systems that build general intelligence, a real shift in what we can do with machine learning. Normally, very specific models solving specific problems. Partnered about 4 years ago in 2019, world's most advanced supercomputing infrastructure that they train the models on. In turn, we get to use those models to build the platforms. GPT built on Azure using specialized hardware. You can see here GPT-3 and 3.5 and 4 now can understand and generate text. Providing a prompt, this model will generate an answer with natural language image inputs. You can see 3.5 and GPT-4 text. Write a tagline for an ice cream shop. Response: we serve up smiles with every scoop. Conversation: I have trouble getting my Xbox turn on. We get a response. Codex code: when you ask for a code and an SQL query to be given response, it will be given in an SQL query. Images based on DALI 2. A ball of fire with vibrant colors to show the speed of innovation at our media and entertainment company. This was the image. Codex translates natural language to code, powers GitHub Copilot, proficient in dozen programming languages, a descendant of GPT-3 model. DALI which converts text to image. And ChatGPT is a conversational way. Microsoft AI platform, Microsoft Intelligence Data Platform, operational databases, analytics, data governance, Microsoft Cloud, deployed within your Azure subscription, secured by you, accessed only by you, and tied to your own datasets and applications. Enterprise grade security with role-based access control, RBAC, and authentication. Secure networking through private endpoints and VNets. Azure AI is not equal to Azure OpenAI services. These were the Azure AI. Within there was Azure OpenAI services, where you can see in customized AI models. This with this we can build our customized one, or we can already use the customized build templates by Azure OpenAI services. Azure OpenAI services is not the only service available to you. Consider that use case is key. Do you need to manage the service yourself, or in this build with another Microsoft product you could leverage such as Power Platform, AI Builder, etc. Our scenario-based services are built from understanding strong use cases that our customers need across sectors. By largely combining cognitive services together for an easier build experience, you may find them a better fit. OpenAI considerations. Breaking down the custom AI models section, when to prefer Azure OpenAI upon the Azure AI services. Here are typical consideration points that we ask our customers to ask themselves. If you would said as to all of the above, the OpenAI might be the right cognitive service to go with. If you haven't checked as to all of the above due to any other factors we may come across when doing a deep dive on your use case, we need other cognitive services which may cater better to the scenario what we are working with you on. We could also have situations where one of the other cognitive services may be needed as a complementary service with OpenAI for a particular scenario. These yes scenarios, I need a general purpose model that can handle multiple tasks. I need a generate human-like content while preserving data privacy and security. I need a rapid prototyping and quick time to market for many use cases. I could use a model with little or no training. I want to explore solutions use cases that have been described previously. etc. Azure AI Cognitive Services. These are Azure OpenAI service pricing. Pricing is a little more complex than other cognitive services currently. Choosing your models, if you fine tune, consider the extra compute hours needed to process and host. Regional availability still a new service. Has it being a new service, if data needs to stay in a region, other cognitive services may still be more appropriate. Using Azure reasonable social implications. Do not humanize AI. Generative AI is not intelligent, deterministic, grounded. Generative AI cannot understand language or max, understand manners or emotions, known facts that are not in its training dataset. The output of a generative AI model is not perfect, and sometimes the creativity of the model can work against it can, resulting in an output which is combination of words that the human user can interpret as a stratification of reality, or it can be offensive. In those cases, we talk about the model's hallucinations. We have covered how a large model works to highlight that behind the looks like a magic, that no more than a statistical model. Generative AI is not intelligent, at least in the more comprehensive definition of intelligent, including critical and creative reasoning or emotional intelligence. It adds a certain degree of randomness when selecting the next token to output. It is not trustworthy since hallucinations such as anonymous references, content, and statement may be combined with correct information. For example, ChatGPT 3 doesn't know about Queen Elizabeth's death. Always ensure to use OpenAI output responsibly. How to mitigate hallucinations, effective prompt engineering, provide validated data sources, ask for citations, tweak parameters, temperatures, max, length, and other specifications, and content filtering. Designing effective prompt as the ones used in demo, enabling the model to customize the answers for your scenarios and our users, providing through the prompt validated data sources and ask the model to cite them in answers in a way that the users can double check the correctness of the information on their own. Tweaking parameters like temperature, which handles the degree of randomness, or max length for the output. Applying content filtering, AOAS services, including a content management system based on assembly of classification models, aimed and others. Applying those filters into your applications that uses the model, you can reduce the risk of harmful use of it. How to use Azure service? Create Azure subscription, learn the basics, and how you will process them, and see the OpenAI cookbook for other similar use cases or examples. Start with your own data using ChatGPT and Azure Search, App UX, App Servers and Orchestration, Azure OpenAI Services, Azure Cognitive Services for searching it, and PDF for OCR, the main documents which you want to search. This is the placeholder for the demo. You can see this was the PDF and this was the custom based OpenAI service. We ask it a question, and based on the question, it gives the answer and the citation of where the data is originally from. See, as there is no information about cloud allocated Microsoft, we didn't get an answer. And these were the Microsoft certification. If anybody want to do to get expert in this type of solutions, there are entry level certification, associate and expert. And Azure AI 900 exam is the basic examination for Azure ML entry level, not focused on coding or implementation. AI focused on cognitive services, bots, and Azure ML already pre-implemented. Non-AI focused responsible AI principles from Microsoft. Exam skills measure, describe artificial intelligence workload and considerations, describe fundamental principles of machine learning on Azure, describe features of computer vision workloads on Azure, describe features of natural language processing workloads on Azure, describe features of generative AI workloads on Azure. Three high-level area involved while building conversational AI solution, hosting accessible in the cloud, human language processing and understanding human language, developing, building and testing chatbots. Microsoft Azure provides a service that lets you host and run chatbots. This service is called Azure Bot Service or ABS. ABS is fully hosted cloud service that lets you host chatbots that can be made available to the public or private. Conversational AI solutions must process and comprehend human languages. This is a complex task for missions to perform advanced machine learning and text analytics to help the mission understand the feelings of human language. For example, natural language processing, commonly referred to as NLP, can perform sentiment analysis, topic detection, or entity identification, and much more with the context of conversation. The NLP is typically used to identify a task a human wants to perform. This is the commonly known as intent a cloud called as LUIS. LUIS can be integrated with conversational AI solutions in the Microsoft Cloud. Next, we will look at the overview of Azure Bot Service. Azure Azure Bot Service building Power Virtualization and PBA low code bot framework composer low code plus bot framework SDK pro code. Fusion team is equals pro code plus low code is equal fusion team. There are three tools that you can use to build chatbots for hosting and Microsoft Azure Bot Service. These are Para Virtualizations or PVA, Bot Framework Composer, and the Bot Framework SDK. The option that you select will depend on the existing skill set and requirements or the use case. UNM make a chatbot integration. Welcome, how can I help you? Someone, can you tell me how to reset my password? In this example, the user is requesting a password reset. You can write custom code and route the original request to the relevant QNM maker knowledge base. Human 1 2 3 4. Thanks. Let me consult the SOP for password result. Chatbot, QNM maker knowledge base account admin, QNM maker knowledge base expenses, QNM maker knowledge base HR. This example, the admin is used. NLP is then used to find the match in the account admin knowledge base, and the relevant answer is returned. A common pattern that often implemented in conversational AI to use a Q&A maker. Dialogue, turn, activity, and prompts. The main components involved in the bot framework SDK includes dialogues, turns, activities, and prompts. Each of these is an abstraction that helps developers model conversational logic. Let's take a closer look at this approach. Dialogue, turn, activity, and prompts. Prompts are used to collect data, validate, and process user input, and activity contained many prompts. Bot framework composer. Bot framework emulator is used to debug and test your chatbots. What is machine learning with an example? If I have a data set of a bank loans, I could train an ML based model on this data to foresee what customers might default on their payments. Keep in mind that machine learning is a gigantic field at this point. Why questions ML can answer A or B classification, how much money regression, is this weird anomaly discussion, how is this organized clustering, what's next reinforcement. Database with household information, for example, combined income, number of family members, state, city, zip. Predict if the house purchase is a loft, townhouse, or an apartment. For example, hospital has a database of over 1 lakh patients. They used to group patients based on the similar results of their blood group exams. Comes under clustering, grouping based on certain characteristics. Azure Machine Learning is a Microsoft cloud-based no-code platform for machine learning. It helps you build, train, evaluate, optimize, and deploy and manage machine learning workflows. In this, feeds the training set of algorithms to create the model. Label, algorithm, and compute. Training your model is a process of feeding or training the set of larger proportion of your data split into machine learning algorithm so that he can understand how to perform predictions about it effectively. Supervised or unsupervised. Model learns from labeled dataset is supervised. Model works on datasets without a label and groups data by features. For example, clustering. A confusion matrix is a performance evaluation tool in the machine learning representing the accuracy of a classification model. Displays the number of true positive and true negatives, false positives, and false negatives. This was the table. We can use the best health data from, let's see, 1 lakh questions, which include information such as BMI, blood pressure, glucose, age, gender, and so on. I also have a column telling which one eventually developed diabetes. That's what I want you to discuss so that in my label we then created the machine learning experiment. You split the data on a 70-30 basis, train the model with a training set, the larger proportion of the split. The model also predicted that 29,000 of them would not develop diabetes, for 28,000 of them, which was correct. So these are my true negatives. For 1,000 of them, unfortunately, did eventually get diabetes. So these are my false negatives. I don't know about you, but if the model told me that I need to exercise and eat my veggies, I will definitely do. Natural language processing supports applications that can see, hear, speak with, and understand users using text analytics and translations and language understanding services. Microsoft Azure makes it easy to build applications that support natural language. Speech to text types, text to speech, speech translation, speech recognition, speech services, speech studio, language, text analytics, translation, and custom translator. LUIS, and QNM Maker. Computer vision. Images as pixels arrays to a computer in an image in an array of numeric pixel values. For example, consider the following array. Multi-dimensional pixel arrays. Use filter to process images. -1, -1, -1. This will be converted to a grayscale image. Example of a convolutional filtering, where these images will be turned into matrix and will match them, and based on neural networks we'll be finding the number of items in these images. Some words encoded as a 3D vectors plotted in a 3D space. Microsoft Florence model computer vision tasks, where they will be seeing the items. Adaptive models like classification, object detection, captioning, tagging, etc. And foundation model language encoder and image encoder. And Azure is a limitless innovation. Thank you.